and the Union Territory of Ladakh. Accordingly, an amount of 30,757 crore has been provided for the financial year 2020-21. An amount of 5,958 crore has been provided for the Union Territory of Ladakh. So that was one hand, which is governance. Now I come to the other, which is the financial sector. If governance was described as one of the pair of the hands holding the bouquet consisting of aspirational India, economic development and caring India, the other is the financial sector. A clean, reliable, robust financial sector is critical to the economy. A clean, reliable and robust financial sector is critical to the economy. In our efforts to achieve the US $5 trillion economy, the financial architecture should evolve. The financial architecture should keep evolving and move from strength to strength. We had earlier approved consolidation of 10 banks into 4. In the last few years, the Government of India has infused about 3,50,000 crores by way of capital into public sector banks for both regulatory and growth purposes. Governance reforms would be carried out in these banks so that they become more competitive. In the last few years, the government has taken concrete steps to bring our banking system to be robust. However, there is a need for greater private capital. Accordingly, it is proposed to sell the balance holding of Government of India's IDBI Bank to private, retail and institutional investors through the stock exchange. There is a need, sir, to take further steps to bring in transparency and greater professionalism in public sector banks. The government will take appropriate measures towards this end. Sir, to help easy mobility while in jobs, we wish to infuse into the universal pension coverage with auto-enrollment. Also, we wish to place such mechanisms which can enable interoperability and provide safeguards for the accumulated corpus. Regulating role of PFRDAI, which is the pension regulatory body, requires strengthening. Necessary amendments would be carried out in Pension Fund Regulatory Development Authority of India Act that will also facilitate separation of NPS trust for government employees from the PFRDAI. This would also enable establishment of a pension trust by the employees other than from the government. I am confident that this will motivate citizens to plan for their old age. Liquidity constraints was very frequently mentioned to us. So to address liquidity constraints of the NBFCs and the housing finance corporations, post the Union Budget 2019-20, the government formulated a partial credit guarantee scheme for the NBFCs. To further the support of providing liquidity, a mechanism would be devised. Government will offer support by guaranteeing securities that are so floated. Infrastructure financing. Government's commitment for investment in infrastructure was reiterated when 103 lakh crore national infrastructure pipeline products were announced. I would also like to inform that about 22,000 crores of rupees has already been provided as support for infrastructure pipeline. On December 31st, if honorable members would recall, the national pipeline consisting of more than 6,500 projects were announced. 22,000 crore has already been provided as support to infrastructure pipeline. This would cater for equity support to infrastructure finance companies such as the IIFCL and a subsidiary which is of NIIF. So two institutions, IIFCL and the subsidiary of NIIF, take it. They would leverage it as permissible to create financing pipeline of more than 1 lakh crores. This would create a major source of long-term debt financing for infrastructure projects and fulfill a long-awaited requirement. So now I come to some numbers. Revised estimates of expenditure for the financial year 2019-20 are at a level of 26.99 lakh crores, and the receipts are estimated at 19.32 lakh crores. We have estimated nominal growth of GDP for the year 2020-21 on the basis of trends available at 10%. Accordingly, we have estimated, sir, let me finish, sir. So we have estimated the nominal growth. We have estimated the nominal growth of GDP for year 2020-21 on the basis of trends available at 10%. Accordingly, receipts for the year 2020-21 are estimated at 22.46 lakh crores. And keeping in mind commitment of the government towards various schemes and the need for improvement of the quality of life, level of expenditure has been kept at 30.42 lakh crores. Sir, during the year, government has unfailingly worked towards keeping up capital expenditure. Actually, there is substantial enhancement. All the flagship schemes of the government have been fully provided for. Details may be seen in the annexes to the printed copy of my speech. Every budget must appropriately address the issue of fiscal deficit. Every budget must appropriately address the issue of fiscal deficit. Recently, government has undertaken very significant tax reforms for boosting investment. However, expected tax buoyancy will take time. We estimate a fiscal deficit of 3.8% in RE 2019-20 and 3.5% for BE 2020-2021. This estimation is consistent with the government's abiding commitment to macroeconomic stability, and it comprises of A, 3.3 for year 2019-20 and 3 for the 2020-2021 budget estimate, and B, Section 4.2 of the FRBM Act, which provides for a trigger mechanism for a deviation from the estimated fiscal deficit on account of structural reforms in the economy with unanticipated fiscal implications. Therefore, I have taken a deviation of 0.5% consistent with the Section 4.3 of the FRBM Act, both for RE 2019-20 and BE 2020-21. Accordingly, the return path is being laid before the Parliament as a part of the medium-term fiscal policy cum strategy statement. This fiscal path commits us to the path of fiscal consolidation without compromising the needs of investment out of public funds. Accordingly, net market borrowings for the year 2019-20 would be 4.99 lakh crore, and for the year 2020-21 it would be 5.36 lakh crores. A good part, this is very important, sir, a good part of the borrowings of the financial year 2020-21 would go towards capital expenditure of the government that has been scaled up by more than 21%. As I had previously mentioned, another about 22,000 crores have already been allocated for equity to fund certain specified infrastructure finance companies who would leverage it manifold and provide much needed long-term finance for infrastructure sector. That should spur the growth impulses in the economy. So I would now move to part B of my speech.
आप देख रहे हैं नेट्रिक न्यूज, साहस सच कहने का।